With a potential catalyst that can send price action to a parabolic run, let's pop open the charts as there could be hidden gems located within price action for an upside continuation. Well, at least in a discretionary manner, right? Welcome back to the channel on this happy Monday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol NVOS. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive in to ticker symbol NVOS, right away from the hourly chart. I can actually see a reason to why price action may continue to an upside, right? So I recently found out that this is going to have some type of announcement. I think it was a buyback of sorts, right? So let's go ahead and just point out a couple things that are very, very much in the obvious spectrum of price action, right? So we're just going to go ahead and pair it just like this right over here. And I want to just go ahead and display here the probabilities of a potential falling wedge, because this is looking massively bullish here, team. And the fact that we're already getting some indications of possibly converting the SMA 50 in the hourly time frame into support, those are good signs, right? That doesn't mean that we can't actually face a downside from here. It just means that we are in a validation process or a confirmation process. Okay, so first of all, hourly time frame, bearish engulfing, right? So usually, I mean, we're going to have to take this into consideration as the bottom side and a little bit of an upside to face this bearish engulfing, right? So usually these bearish engulfings are better looked at when when they're at the top of price action. So for example, if it were like up here or something, right, that would be a better placement for these bearish engulfings. So it doesn't have the biggest credibility there, although it still is a red candle engulfing the prior green one, right? So now, as you can see, price action right now, as you zoom in, it is failing the SMA 50 here, and it is indicating a potential drop into that EMA 21 of the 159 value, right? So if price action continues to the downside here, which I honestly do believe that it can happen, this would be indicating a continuation to the downside to potentially come back and test the conversion of resistance into support of this regression line, which would then land us at approximately $1.49. Okay, so from that $1.49, there could be a massive bounce to the upside. So let's go ahead and go over these targets, as there are a few of them here, right? So first of all, the center of the triangle would be the first one, right? So let's go ahead and take that into consideration. So this would be, this candle here would be the first candle to break out without any exposure inside of the triangle, right? So we're going to go ahead and post up our trend line there. And it looks like price action is indicating, and you know what, I'll shift it a little bit, just like this too. Price action is suggesting a potential 183. Now, since we did break out from this point here, I mean, we can always take into account that that price objective, right? So we broke out from this point here, and price action was suggesting a 172. Of course, we ended up getting a closure of 174 with a top side of about let's see, a high of oh no, the closure, sorry, nice. So the target was 172, closure came in at 173. And the top side was 174. Right now on this candle here, the top side came up to 177. So fair enough. Very good. And now the last target to observe from here would be the very backside of the triangle, right? So somewhere along the lines of this trend line right over here. So right from the top of the triangle all the way to the bottom side support line here. And then again, right, we apply it right to that breakout candle. And this is taking us to a target of about $2.11 where there could be a pullback, right? So I want you to be aware of these things, because these are resistance levels that are still going to be respected, even though there could be a parabolic run, right? I just want you to be aware of it in the event to where you are trading this. I don't want you to feel like you had no hope, right? And price action just didn't do what you wanted it to do. Right, but because in fact in the markets, it doesn't matter what we want it to do. It's just it's going to do what it's going to do, because there are millions and millions of market participants upon a bunch of algorithms trading the asset too, right? So now, before we continue here, team, I would like to give a massive shout out master student Powder Slave, which is my only master student that got a 115 out of 111 score, right? It's actually supposed to be 100 right there, but he did get a massive perfect score on this, including the bonus levels and everything, right? So very much a huge congratulations to Powder Slave. He will be receiving some nice gifts from the ARCa Bulls family, right? So, team, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because the Track 3 students have just started their journey with me on a 16-week mentorship, and this is actually it's a real honor to share this with people, right? So if you are interested, I'm already getting the waiting list ready for the potential next track that we can run in tandem with the Track 3, right? We would just choose another day, just like we did track 1 and 2, right? So go ahead and get in touch with me if you are interested in the 16-week mentorship and charting course, right? So ARC Masters course at gmail.com is the area where you want to send your inquiry, right? And we'll go ahead and give you the syllabus, the disclaimer, and everything that pertains to that matter. Okay, team, so now let's go ahead and take a look at some fib levels here, right? So let's just take into consideration the swing high to the swing low of price action to see if we have any rhyming numbers towards that upside, right? So so in fact, $2.11 rhymes very well with the 2-spot 618 landing at about $2.09. So now naturally we can go ahead and put together here a little bit of a range of resistance, right? Just like that there. So we can note it, right? So now, and of course, right over here, the 1-spot 272 is right at 182. And you can see here that the price action is suggesting 183 from the center of the triangle. So that, yet again, actually is looking very nice. So if we can pair it as a range, then let's go ahead and do that now, right? So let's go ahead and take into consideration that 183 top, right? Just like this. And let's take into consideration also the 182, but we're gonna bring the price action down ever so slightly to see if we can meet an area that has actually I just found it, and this is it literally right here, right? So it would be actually, can I correct it any further? Yeah, I could. Oh, but it's still 180. Okay, yeah. So it looks like it could be a zone of about 183 to 180 with a concentrated 182 or a focus level of 182, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and put that down right there so that we know where we are when price action starts doing what it'll do, right? So there we go, team. It's looking okay. It's looking a-okay. So that was again 183 to 180 with a focus of 182 being the 1-spot 272. And the upside target here was 2-spot 618 at 209 with the psychological price objective being the back of the triangle here at 211. Okay, team, so that's looking okay. So please remember that I am suggesting for there to be a slight pullback here to validate the conversion of resistance into support before a continuation to the upside. It doesn't have to happen that way, right? But it does happen often enough. Okay, so in this present moment, the hourly time frame RSI is looking pretty bullish, right? So this drop of the RSI signal to meet the SMA 14 down here would meet in a specific area that's called the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. So you have your bear weakness down here, bear strength right over here, bull weakness and bull strength percentile. So now every single zone that you have, every junction that you have here, 2% up or 2% down is a gravitational zone from those areas, right? Every single one here. So the reason why I'm mentioning that here is because the RSI signal is in the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile, and this opposing side is in the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. So that means that there could be a bounce from this SMA 14. It doesn't work every time, but it is important for us to distinguish that. Right, so now let's go ahead and move up to the bi-hourly time frame. Bi-hourly time frame is suggesting a continuation to the downside even still, but I must warn that in observing here the price action on a bi-hourly time frame, this downside to the SMA 14 very much resembles the downside here to around 151, or could it be? Let me see. Yeah, about 149. Right, so yeah, that kind of looks like it. But it will depend on how volatile the hourly time frame drop will be. So that if that's too strong, then sure, it's gonna combat the moving averages and the SMA 14 moving average within the RSI. So we just have to, practice some discretion there. So now as you start to jump in to the 4-hour time frame, to the upper time frames, you'll see that there is still a little bit of a downside here where we can face some support at that SMA 14 based on the simple fact that we're using the EMA 21 as a resistance level. Okay, so that could be the reason why we would come back down and yet again, right, suggest a confirmation of this 149 level before a continuation to the upside. 8-hour time frame is actually pivoted straight to the upside right now. It actually consolidated within the gravitational zones and finally got out of the gravitational zone and bounced to that upside, right? So, and please notice the MACD about to create a bullish crossover here on the 8-hour time frame. And volatility is actually starting to contract with a potential correction on stochastic momentum. So this is looking pretty bullish, if I have to say so, but it would be an enormous guess nonetheless, right? So let's see. Yeah, so I would just practice some discretion here because there's no way that we can guess what would happen with the announcement. It's supposed to be bullish, so in that case, now we know. Now, worst case scenario, if this thing does not find support at that 149, if it does not find support at the 149, then we can start speculating what could happen, right? So first of all, failing that 149, which could be right at about here, that would mean that price action would come back and test this range right over here, 142. Okay, so and 142 is a temporary support, right? So it's going to be 146 to 142, right? This would essentially bounce here and validate the resistance of this regression, and then it'll fail to the downside, of which then we have downside targets to also look at, right? So that would be implying that price action would break out from around this point here, right? So that the furthest target we can look at would honestly be very close to the all-time low of $1 flat. Is that the all-time low? Okay, no, it's actually the swing low, right? So it looks like we've gone down to 65 cents in the recent past, right? So yeah, this thing would actually come down to very near that $1 zone. In fact, it's 102 to $1. So let's just go ahead and put that range down there for our discretion, right? So just like that. And let's get rid of this here as it got dragged down by accident. And the center of the triangle, of course, it's another target for us to observe. So it could be right around this area here too, right? So that would be suggesting a bottom side of about 117, which is pretty relevant here to, literally the bottom of this candle here is 117. And the OHLC on the top left, L, that shows 117, right? So that, and it is a range too, right? We always like to put a range there just in case anything obstructs price action. We have several levels to kind of go over, right? So in this case, I would actually have to say that, oh my goodness, that's kind of large. 109 to 117, and the concentrated area or the focus zone could be right at about 114. Right, so let's put that down there just in case, right? So I'm doing this because I want you guys to know that you have a plan for the upside and for the downside. Okay, team. So please be careful with whatever happens with price action here, because there could be a surge and there could be a sell-off. It is literally a gamble at this point, right? So we don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is what's happening, right? But it's also okay to speculate on these things and have a plan ready. It's better to have a plan ready than not, right? So there you go. These are the targets of support. These are the targets of upside, and we shall see what happens in the price action in the coming day. Okay, team, please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest, and I repeat, I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good rest of your night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios. Yeah.